Welcome to Between Views. I'm your host, Ali Koski. This podcast aims to cast light on and connect you with inspirational people, identify them as potential mentors in your journey, and share their wisdom with the world. In this episode, we converse with Nashelly Alba about global travel and its influences on your life. Here in front of me today, I have Nashelly Alba, first to go by Nash. I have written something really nice for you, Nash, but welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
So Nash is coming in via Zoom from Mexico, and I'm sitting in Australia. I'm here at the dawn. She's about 2 p.m. Been trying to get an interview with her for a very long time, and we finally managed to line one up. So Nash, I've written something for you here. Nash and I met very briefly while I was traveling with my friend Max in Thailand in 2022. With a bright and contagious energy, she was moving in her element, and we all quickly became friends. She's a passionate global traveller and keeps an impressive and beautiful Instagram page filled with regular inspirational posts from exotic destinations. Some of our major curiosities about Nash are how she maintains this nomadic lifestyle, her beliefs in spirituality, and gathering a better understanding of what it truly means to be polyamorous in modern society and why someone might lean towards that style of partnership. Welcome, Nash.
Hi, thank you. That was a very nice intro. And yeah, I remember how we met. That was really, really cool. Just a big hello to Max as well, that he's the one introducing us. But it was great, actually. It was a great timing. I was traveling in that time a lot, but it was cool. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. So I guess the question that I'd like to start with is you have done very obviously, lots of different travels. You've been to many different places. I guess I want to start by talking about travel. So why are you so passionate about travel?
For me, travel, and I think so, is connect two important things that is make you realize how your world is not as unique as you think. Like, for example, me, in that time I was in Mexico, and I was thinking in some parts, yeah, Mexico is great. In other parts, Mexico needs to be better. And when I am outside of Mexico, I'm able to see the potential of my country, what things need to improve, what other things are still kind of work in progress, but what other things we have in like amazing like food and other stuff. And as well, I can share more about the culture of my country, but at the same time, I am able to see a wider image about what is the world, how other people live, and what they do in their life to life, day to day. So actually, for me, that's really interesting. And part of the great experience about traveling is all the people that you're meeting on the way. Like, for example, you, Max, and a lot of people that when you are traveling, even if it's more, but I'm talking more in trips that when you are a traveler, not like when you're a tourist in a place, more when you are going to a place and really see the place for what it is, eat the local food, enjoy to kind of the experience that has to give you, not just go from one point tourist spot to the other tourist spot. That is probably that type of trip, but it can give you completely different experiences.
Mm-hmm. So one thing you mentioned right at the start there was that going away traveling actually gave you a better perspective on Mexico. Like, it made you see Mexico in a nicer light, like your home, right?
Yes.
So why do you think that is?
Well, like, unfortunately, like, I think in Mexico has like beautiful things. Like, it has a lot to share. Like, food wise, it's like an amazing country because you can be traveling from north to south, and all the food is completely different. We have beautiful spots to visit, but as well, I think so. It's a nice something I don't want to dive too deep, but politicians and insecurity is something that could affect Mexico, and it's like a lot of people, when you say Mexico, before they used to think about all the beautiful things that Mexico has to share. But unfortunately, right now, it's more about how dangerous Mexico can be if you visit it. And when I'm going out, I can see all the potential that Mexico can have because at the end of the day, we have all these natural resources that could be exploited in a better way. And sometimes, like, we're kind of the people that, like, when you don't get out of your country, you are used to the ways that you think that that's just how other countries do it too. Like, that's just how is life. But when you are going outside and you see how other countries are doing it, that they are doing it better, then you want to inspire that for your own country.
Mm-hmm. So, I also have been to Mexico, and I agree with you completely. I think it's such a beautiful place. And yes, of course, filled with amazing resources, of course, filled with beautiful, warm people. I think the news and I guess typical travel stories don't really express the truth about our countries that we live in. And Mexico is one of those ones where people think it's very dangerous, but the reality is, yes, of course, there's dangers there. But if you go to all the right places, especially like touristy places, it's typically very safe, and a lot of the people are actually looking out for you, right?
Yeah, usually, like, at the end of the day, I think so will be places that you will be okay, and there are safe. Other places that, of course, are like more dangerous. So it's just as well be responsible at what areas are you visiting, and if you come with the intention of just looking in Mexico for drugs, you are getting into a kind of dangerous situation. Doesn't matter what, because even if you are just a buyer, you will be in that area of danger, you know. But at the end of the day, if you try to stay kind of clear of that, you come and enjoy the experience. Yeah, like it's very low chances that something will happen to you. At the end of the day, I feel that as well is kind of a luck situation, and it can happen something to you in different parts of the world at the end of the day. But it's just as well matter of be a responsible traveler when you are going to a place, and just don't think because you are a foreign you can get away with some things.
Yeah, of course. So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's matter of the place that you are visiting, but as well be responsible about the way that you travel.
Yeah, of course. So, when you're traveling to a new place, what are some things that you try to make sure you do before you go somewhere?
You know, before, like, for me, it's like kind of a way that I used to travel before and the way I travel now. Because before I used to be more like the controlative side that was like, I need to investigate everything about this country. I need to know everything. I need to know how much money I need, what places I have to be from this day to this day. And I like it to have it everything extremely organized. Even if it was like 2 months trip, I had to have everything organized and try to because like this I felt that I won't be missing anything. But the problem with that type of traveling is that you don't let room for spontaneity and excitement and see what happened when you are traveling. And then once that I kind of learned that part and I start kind of losing control of things and just flow more, I start more traveling like, you know what, I just booked a plane ticket to this continent that was in that time was Asia. These countries I want to visit, but then once I'm in that country, I know enough of the country, but I want to be as well kind of just to see where the life is bringing me. So
Yeah,
it's
of
completely
course.
two different ways of traveling. It's like for some people will prefer to have a little bit more control on it, and it's fine. I think so. It depends of whatever type of person you are. But at least in my experience, I have found that when you are a free kind of and you are just flowing with whatever people you are meeting and see where you could go, it can bring you a lot more kind of fun experience that you can be telling later. Because at the end of the day, we
Yeah.
come to this life for experience, you know, to enjoy, have fun. And many times, I think so what travel does, they get you out of your comfort zone. And that part is where you can learn a lot more. So
Yeah.
when you have like sometimes that is not something not planned and you have an issue that the train just leave you behind or you lost your wallet or something, of course in that moment can be very stressful situations. But when you go back in time in years and you remember that trip, those are the moments that you start laughing because it's like, I remember being in this situation and just laughing because now you have to get out of that trouble. That when everything just went smooth and just perfect.
Yeah, of course. It's oftentimes I found as well, like it's when it goes completely wrong and it sucks. That's what you remember the most, and often be the like they're the story that you tell to others. Like, uh, for example, you get like I tell this story when I would work now, where I was in Colombia and I got held up at knife point. That was scary for me then, but now it's a hilarious story that I tell to kids before we play a game at work. It's like the
Exactly. Like
game we
all
like poke each other with our with finger, and it's like a knife fight essentially, but it's simulated. And but yeah, the story now is hilarious. But if I wouldn't have that story if something really bad didn't happen in the first place.
exactly. At the end of the day, we're so afraid to have kind of mistakes when we are traveling, to have like a situation. Of course, a situation that is like a life danger and we're going like to a extreme, but we're talking that here when you lost your train, when you like don't have a hotel where to sleep, or that kind of situation that get you out of your comfort zone. That's what makes like traveling like the most fun, because at the end of the day, you always ended up, at least in my experience, I have traveled more in Asia, and it's
Yeah,
where I prefer to be. I find that it's extremely safe. I find that people is very like nice and always try to help. And at the end of the day, you always ended up meeting like amazing people. I remember the last time I went to India, and just the taxi driver, I was saying to him, you know what, I would love to see an Indian wedding. And he said like, well, today I have like I'm going to a wedding. You wanna come? And he was like, and we were like, yeah, of course. He brought me to buy a dress, and we ended up just having like, it was an Indian Muslim wedding, and I don't know, it was like such amazing experience, as well, that we were just open to whatever say the universe. We want to see an Indian wedding, and we ended up being invited, eating a curry in the floor with a lot of Indians. Like it was just like a completely crazy and fun experience. That when you open
yeah,
yourselves to the adventure and trust that the universe will catch you, you will be fine. Then it becomes like very fun adventure. Even the bad situations, you learn to give fun to it.
yeah, of course. So, um, one thing I'm hearing is you used to have very structured and planned travels. And probably what you learned was that even if you do that, travel is still like, but hey, did you think about this? And all of a sudden you realize your good plan is something that you can't do anyway. So you end up having to, try and go and do the random thing that you didn't plan anyway. This Indian wedding that you turned up to. So from what I understand, Indian weddings are typically very large weddings. So I imagine, do they have, were you the only person who was like a bit of a random guest there, or was there lots of other people that taxi drivers just brought to this wedding kind of thing?
No, no, we were the only one, like me and Carl, that were traveling together, another Indian friend, and we
Yeah.
were the only parent invited. So actually, we kind of stole the wedding because everybody wanted to take pictures with us.
Oh
So actually,
no.
they have to hide us behind the stage because they were not kind of even let us walk. It was so
Oh.
crazy, because everybody was just staring at us and wanted to take pictures. I felt extremely famous at that point. Even like the groom was coming in a horse, and like they knew that we were coming, they wait for us to start the ceremony. Like it
Yeah.
was just really crazy. And I was wearing a sari, and I was walking the street, and of course I didn't put it myself properly because I was in a rush and I don't know how to do a proper sari. uh, so the lady in the corner shop saw me and invited me to her house, and she and the daughter helped me to fix my sari and do it properly.
Yeah.
uh, After that, they take us for dinner to this wedding, but they have to wait until the most of the guests kind of have eaten because they were kind of waiting for us. So then finally we were able to have dinner, and they just put us in, like, it was not tables, it was just completely in the floor. And they give us the plates and was in the floor, and then like they just put someone with buckets to fill our plates of food. And then just people see that they were having dinner, so everybody just starts saying at us, like, was and making a circle of us eating Indian food. The wedding was just like super crazy experience. But that's my point, that when you don't have plans, you allow yourself for something magical happen. When I was having the structure plan, that was the first time I was traveling, that I was having planned like in the morning we do this, in the evening we do this, and the night we have this tour, and this tomorrow we have this tour. Like, I'm not letting room for anything outside of my structure happen. And at the
Mm.
same time, if something goes wrong, it's more stressful because now you have like such a tight schedule and such a tight kind of everything kind of in a way that it can become more stressful for people than when you are just free, because you know that if this plan B didn't work out, you have the plan C, or if not, the plan D will come, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, if somebody that is listening to this, I will suggest, in my experience, that if you can let loose a little bit of the control, just kind of go free, enjoy, and trust that everything kind of will be just happening. Of course, have like a kind of a plan, but just go free to whatever situation can bring you.
Yeah. So your suggestion essentially would be book a ticket, have a rough plan, but be open to that plan changing very regularly so that you don't miss out on beautiful experiences and become the most famous person at a wedding.
Exactly, you know, because because at the end of the day, that's life. That should not be just for traveling. Of course, when you're traveling a lot, you put that in practice a lot. That when you come back to your normal life, that's how you. At least for me, that happened. That's how it starts in life. You know, I have my plan, but plans can change from one moment to other one. And when you are open to change and open to things are not always in the way that I'm ambitionate, but something better will come up, then you will be okay.
Okay. So you try and keep a very optimistic and open-minded approach while you're traveling so that essentially more positive things will flow into your life.
I like, for me, I'm really believer of like you attract what you vibe. Actually, I have a tattoo here
Oh,
that
what does it
it
say
says,
there?
like in
Okay.
Spanish it says atraes lo que vibras.
Atraes lo que vibras. So it's like you attract what you vibrate in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of like the saying in English, your vibe attracts your tribe a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a thing, you know. At the end of the day, if you are vibing in this energy, like, you know what, amazing things will happen. I'm sure that this will be great, and this trip will be amazing, even when you have like bad moments. For example, I remember was a moment that our Vietnamese visa didn't arrive. We had a plane to catch from Indonesia to Korea, and we need to make a stop over in Vietnam. But for the
Mhm.
airline that we're traveling, we need a visa for Vietnam. Other times we will need it, but or a specific airline you need it. So we realized one day before leaving Bali, and we're like, okay, now we need to book new flights. We need to be changing this and this, and we're like, and we have to stay. We have to cancel visiting Hong Kong at that point because it just things change. You know, at the end of the day, we cannot continue the way that we were hoping, and we're like, you know what? It's okay. We will just stay two more weeks in Bali. What we can do, like
Right?
things happen for a reason. And
Yeah.
actually, remember that we had to be going after Korea. We had to be going to Philippines, and we had to cancel that as well. And that made us to be missing Philippines. But then after a few days, the storm came to Philippines. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you never know why these kind of things happen. And if you learn to see them with the optimistic side, maybe it saved you for something, maybe it didn't, but at the end of the day, it's something that you cannot control. And it's better if you just see it from the positive side than just being angry for a situation that you cannot control.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I've just turned the light off because I thought it was getting bright outside, but it's made me look like a bald man on there.
It kind
Okay,
of looks
I'm
funny.
going to lean into it. I'm going to lean into it. No, I agree. So you avoided a storm. You avoided a storm because you kind of lent into this situation um, where, yeah, you couldn't go somewhere. And I guess there's a few things that come from that. It's like, one, you have a choice. You can be either really positive about it and just enjoy where you are anyway. It's like, oh, nothing we can do. Or I'm sure you've met people like it too, people who would be in the worst space after that who would be totally negative and be like, we missed our whole trip. There's nothing we can do. Like, and just like they're angry now and their whole trip is ruined because they're angry. But it's actually those moments, right, where you realize, oh, no, we actually get 2 extra weeks in Bali. That you kind of have to, that's where the positive comes, right?
Exactly. At the end of the day, like if you are open to, okay, this change, and I'm telling you because I was those two type of people that you described. I was at one point the angry one that will be like, why I didn't check this properly? I should be like blaming myself, getting angry for the situation, getting losing energy in something I cannot control, ruining one day of being angry or maybe two and stuff like that, or just be like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? We have to be 2 weeks more here where we can go. And actually, the fact that we ended up staying in Bali, we ended up having one of the best weekends that we have in our trip. We met amazing people, like friends that she is still kind of visit us in Ireland. That now we want to go to visit in Netherlands, like really solid friends. We ended up like having like an amazing beach party in Canggu until like 7 in the morning. Like it
Yeah.
was just an amazing weekend that at the end of the day it completely worked. And of course at the moment was like, okay, we need to pay again like other 3 flights that we need to buy each and stuff like that was kind of annoying. But at the end
Yeah,
of
of
the day,
course.
and it's not like I had a lot of money to say, okay, I can spend whatever. Like we were like living with our wages because we were working. But at the end of the day, I feel that when you trust that everything will be okay and just things will flow, the money is this kind of energy that it will always, it just moves. Like one day you can have money, but if you see sometimes that you're worried about money, then you decide to pay something, but then you realize when you look back that that money even didn't affect you in the bottom in the own, like it's like sometimes it's just really the matter of perspective that help you to get out of these kind of situations.
Yes. And so I guess for me, it's always been something like travel light and try and save that extra bit of money because you do need that extra bit of cash as a buffer while you travel. Like the budget is always more than what you think when you go traveling, especially in situations like that. But also like not holding too tightly to your cash as well, because like if there's an experience that's there to be had, you need to be able to go and do that, right? Like you don't want to be just holding on to every penny because and missing out on all the good stuff while you're there.
It's just once again, like it happened to me the first trip that I did in 2016 in Asia. I was like that. We have this is our budget. We have to kind of schedule and be tied to this thing. Even was point the crowd was like, can we get an ice cream? I was like, no, you know what? This one will remove our budget for the next day. And I was
Yeah.
extremely tired and nothing was fluent. When this time we were like, you know what, we were never even like in the first trip, I was like counting how much money we can spend per day, how much even the fees was going to be of the ATM when I took money out of the ATM, like I have
Yeah.
everything like completely calculated. And this time that we were traveling, we were never even checking like accounts, how much money we are going to get. We were just flowing like we have the money. We have for the moment, we were getting paid every month. So we were like, we need just to budget month by month
Yeah.
and everything will be okay. And we were kind of more loose with our money. Of course, we were smart about we cannot go to a Michelin star, but
Yes.
at the end of the day, you kind of have a money. But when I really believe about this kind of energy that when you believe that you are abundance and you will kind of everything will work out, even in your brain, you kind of do it automatically. You know how
Yeah.
much you can spend, but without the stress of I don't have money anymore. Because once you get to that idea of I don't have money anymore, you are getting a block that you won't have money anymore.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you completely. It's about mindset and what we say to ourselves, right?
Yes, definitely. If not, you can get in a panic mode and even
Yeah.
see the things way worse that it could be.
Yeah. And I suppose it's kind of like you start adjusting to learn how much money you have. But when you're in that abundant mindset, saying things to yourself like, I have lots of money. And like, you know, even if comparatively to someone else, that's not necessarily true. We don't need to compare ourselves to someone else. You personally, if you have enough money to go on your travel, if you have enough money to buy that extra flight to save you, you probably saved that money up in the first place. You thought about, yes, I can afford this trip. So you went on it. You didn't spend past your means. Then you're kind of like, you are abundant. When you believe you're abundant, you become abundant. It has this weird effect of flowing into your life because you think it, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, for example, I met people that they were having in their bank accounts like 10,000 euros savings, and they were like, "No, I don't have enough. I don't want to be doing that." And I was looking at my bank account that I was just like check to check, and I was like, "Really, it's a matter of your mindset of what you think that you have, because you can have a lot of money and still thinking that it's not enough, and you can be like, and it's people that are traveling without money and still manage to be kind of to making it work. For me, I really believe that the mindset is extremely important. Like I have had situations that I said, because especially that trip, our plan was just travel for that was 2022, and our plan was let's travel just for 2 months and let's see what happened. Once we were traveling, we said we don't want to stop, we want to continue, but we had some compromises in Mexico and in Ireland. So for that point, we had to be traveling to Europe again and to America, to Mexico. So we're like, okay, we have to make this work because it's two big flights, and we don't have the money for doing it. But we say to the universe, we need to do this. So we need to make it work. I don't know how universe will make it work, but we need this. And like, funny enough, we ended up meeting some girl that just because she was interested in some cars things, she was willing to pay us the flights to Mexico. She can meet us on the way, and we ended up like having those flights paid. And then when we're planning to come back to Asia, our job suddenly decide to make travel to like a side off in Asia, and they are paying our other flights. So at the end of the day, what we want.
So you met someone so because of your positive mindset, it kind of like encouraged someone to enter your life. I guess your vibe attracts your tribe. This person came along and you needed a flight, and they happened to have the money for a flight and want to help. So they just bought you some flights.
Yes, just like that,
Amazing.
Wow. It's crazy when you get into this mindset. Like I could tell you like all the crazy stuff. Like it really is crazy when you just believe. You know what? I don't actually even in my debit card right now when I'm paying, I have the legend that says thank you because all the money that I am spending it comes multiplied to me, comes back to multiply it. So basically, every time.
So you have a card that says what?
In my debit card from the bank.
Yeah.
Like I have the legend that says thank you because all the money that I am spending, it will come back to me multiplied.
You wrote that on your card?
Yeah, you know that it's a bank that allow you to kind of have to customize your card.
Oh, really?
So I put So I put that legend. So every time I pay, it's kind of a giving thank you because I have this money. It doesn't matter if it's in bills. Doesn't matter if it's whatever you have to to pay. You give thank you because you have the money to pay it, and that's been in abundance.
So you customized your card to say thank you, so that every time you're paying, it comes back to you. It makes you think about that it's coming back to you.
Exactly, because you are like gratitude is one of the things that will bring you more things. It's like a present, for example, if I come and give you a present and let's say and you appreciate that present, you say, Nash, thank you so much. I really love this present. If I see the excitement that you get for that present, I will want to give you more presents. But if I give you a present and you are like, thank you, this is cool, and just dump it there, and I realize that you don't appreciate it, I won't want to give you more because I see that you don't appreciate it. So it is the same dynamic with the universe.
This reminds me of one of my favorite rules in life is like when life gives you a gift, regardless of what it is, accept it, right? Because if you don't accept it, then the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, will stop giving it because it's noticing that you didn't want it. But if you receive it, you kind of like set yourself up in this state of receiving the gift and accepting it and being happy with it. Then the world's just like, here's more gifts because you like that and it worked.
Exactly, and that's how the universe works with everything.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of our interview with Nash. If you enjoyed what you heard, please jump over to thinking.nash and give her a follow. Also remember that the best way you can support this podcast is by following or subscribing to Between Views on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, or liking and sharing it with a friend, and remembering to leave comments in the section below. Or if you really enjoyed it, you can jump over to www.buymeacoffee.com/betweenviews and buy me a delicious cup of Do More Things juice. Finally, if you know someone who deserves to be interviewed or just have some feedback, then send us an email at betweenviewsbv@gmail.com or message us on Instagram. Thanks again and see you soon. Between Views.